attractive little picture and use it to produce a painting in pastels with these S.A.A. pastels onto a new paper that I've just been given to try out by the S.A.A. This paper is from a firm called Hannibal and it's called Pastelfix. Quite an interesting paper. It's got to feel a little bit like the Ongres paper at first, but it has a more rubbery surface, so we'll see how it takes the pastels now. To link with this, I'm also doing another painting of a market scene using acrylic inks and the pastels over the top, and also incorporating into both of these the new dark pastels that S.A.A. have just brought out. So let's see how they handle this. Now the technique I'm going to use is the blocking and blending technique, the old English technique. There's our nice set of dark pastels to go at the end. And what we're going to do is work up these mid-tones first, and then the darks, then the lights, and then go back to the darks at the end. So we're going to block in these colours with the pastels directly and blend them onto the paper, and then work the final colours over the top. Now the importance of this is that pastel works by reflecting light. The particles of pigment reflect this light, and tonight I'm using artificial light. And if we smudge them or blend them, they'll go dead. If we spray them, they'll go dead, so I prefer not to even fix my pastels. So what we're going to do is so what will happen is the final coats will be the brightest coats. We'll block and blend, lose the paper. If we want to leave some of it showing, we can do, and then we'll put the last coats on, which won't be touched at all. So as I'm going to work with these mid-tones first, let's start with some mid-warmer greens, literally, and we'll just work around the figure, just to blend in these greens that I want to get first of all. And so I'm going to block in these colours then, right up to here, right through. I want these all the way around here to a degree, going all the way around the top here, quite loosely at first. So blocking in quite loosely. One of the beauties with any opaque medium like this is that we can put lights over darks. So I don't have to do my sky first, I can put that in afterwards. Very rapid. I've just been working on some very large paintings, so coming down and working on something as small as this seems quite strange to me now. So right round to here, I'm going to blend those in with my fingers right into the paper. Let's see how this paper handles it. It's taking the pastel very, very well actually. It's a little bit dry on blending, I'm finding at the moment. The pastel isn't moving around much, it's certainly going on and staying there. So it's not powdering. So far so good then. Right, now I want to start working in some cooler greens into that, and take some slightly bluer green in other words, and we'll just blend that over the top surface. Very rapid way to work this. And if we start lovely and loose like this, we can finish as tight as we want whenever we want. So we're in control, we can finish when we like. So I'm just getting the effective light, just blending these colours through. And in the background, there's much lighter green going on back here. It's a much bluer green. So I'm just going to blend that one in. We can mix these colours, so let's see what happens when we start to mix them. Again, using the S.A.A. pastels. It's a little bit greener, cooler green back there. So looking for a bluer green. There we are. Slightly bluer green. Even that isn't really blue enough. We'll make it a bit bluer in a minute. Turquoise. And just add that into that. Just tickle it in. Look, I can just scumble it over the top, feather it over the top, and it gives me a bluer green to take back. And I'll just blend that in, take back into the distance. There we are. That's that blue green I wanted. A little bit stronger with the blue. And some of that colour coming into the dress here as well. Now I need a background colour for the dress. For that one, I'm going to use quite a deep pink. We'll see how that works in a moment. So I'm just working up my underpainting, if you like, of the background colours that I'm going to allow to glow through here shortly. Just thinly working that down over the paper. I'm working very deep greens in this. I'm going to have to use some of the darks to do that, which is why I asked them to make these dark pastels in the first place, because the S.A.A. range does not have enough darks. Now we've got a very deep green and a very deep blue and a very deep purple. We're going to be able to use those to really get these effects to come out here. Put more of this bluer green here. That one is in, and I want some slightly more turquoisey blue green coming through as well, as the light just catches through here. Coming vertically here, you can see the texture of the paper. I don't really want texture of paper. I'm quite happy to use watercolour paper even at times to do work like this. I'm going to lose the paper at the moment. Right down this grey, come right down here. One grey at first, down that edge, and there's quite a bit of this purple going on down here, and around through where the legs are here, green through, down here, and into the, literally painting with light. The pastels, they lose being pastels and they become light in my hands to gradually stumble and find this across here. Right, and behind I'm going to use some white. I'm going to tint that in a minute with a bit of colour. Bring that up behind here, right the way through. So I've now gone from my mid-tones towards my lights, and I've started to put some lights back into here. I'm going to use this tic-tac, like that, to get the textures coming down in the trees, right down through into the trees here. So this paper's taking this very well, so this is now the second layer going on top of a blended layer. So you can see how well the paper's taking it. I wanted to demonstrate and see what it would do. Exploding down through these trees. I'll use my fingers just to blend a bit there. And here now we can see the difference between what's going to happen when we blend the pastel and when we keep it fresh. So here's blended pastel now then. Now let's go back onto that and put the fresh pastel on. Look how much brighter the fresh pastel is. So we're using a mixture now of blending and putting pastel back in to get the effects of light. Blending and pastel back in to get the effects of light. Let's be a bit bluer grey. Use that white again, and we'll blend the colours together to get the light grey that I want. There we are. It's not quite the right colour for me yet. There's a hill coming up behind here, so that's what I'm going to do there. It wants to be a little bit mauve, a little bit cooler. So into that we'll just add a little touch of the very light pinky mauve. Again, these are all the S.A.A. colours, so there's plenty of colour here for us. Take the stronger grey, just come back down here a bit, just indicating some of this background. Let's start with these new dark colours. The first thing I want to do is go straight in with the very deep green, and we'll just see what that does in amongst the trees here. I'm going to use it quite thinly and just touch in all these little bits of darker leaf here, tickling him on. So now we've had the mid-tones, we've got some light tones, and I'm now starting to put in some of these darker leaves. And I want to make marks that are about the leaves. I'm not trying to copy the leaves exactly. I'd be here all day if I did that. I want to do this quite quickly as a rapid study. And the way that those darks come through in the greens, they're coming through also on this brickwork here in the arch, against that warmth, pulling through it, right down here, and down our hair the same. Might seem a funny colour to use, green, for the hair, but so we are reflecting the light. Down around her face, chin here. Don't want to do detail, I'm just going to indicate her face. And down around her shoulder, down here, deep green. I'll use the darker colour in a moment, I'm not quite ready for it yet. Down around her hand here, keep the hand simple, just simplify the form and shape. As quick as that, look. Down here we've got a bag, which is going to be a bit darker in a minute. Put that in with the green just for the moment, just so I establish it. Right, now we go back to these trees, and we can start to continue to indicate those and put some deeper green in just a moment. And that's going to bring out the light of this dress in a minute. So there we go, right out through to here, into the light. Carry on working with these darks. And this is the point that we hadn't got the full range of tone. We couldn't really use the colour intensity or the tonal intensity without these very darks. We've got the mid-range and the lights. We did need these darker ones. Also, of course, now having the three colours, we've got the colour hues of warmer and cool, but we've got these warms and cools of the green and the purple and the deep blue, which we can use now to with our arsenal of materials and techniques. When we've got those, I can come back to the greens I was using earlier and be a bit stronger with those greens now. Bring those in, through and across, and make a bit more of the leaf shapes with these. And we're starting to get the tonal effects. Now I can go much lighter still. And let's take some quite light yellow. Now this is third coat, so let's see how this paper takes a third coat now. And we'll start to put some of the sunshine in these leaves around her. So this is third coat on this new paper. And it's coming also into the stonework and brickwork down here. This is a lady, the model that I'm using here is a friend who showed me, when I used to live in France, who showed me around Toulouse this day. We're amongst these beautiful gardens near the castle there, not far from the cathedral. And we're almost ready for the darks now, before we start putting some more lights back in again. A little bit more of the yellows coming down there, and down here, just reflecting behind. Right, let's take a nice, one of the lovely darks now. We'll take the actual deep blue, and I want to come all the way down this side with that. This lovely deep blue. It might not be dark enough for me yet, we'll see in a minute. Right now the top here, we'll play these warms against cool. So even in the darks we can have warm cools and dark cools. Right the way down. And I'm going to need to blend that. There we go. All the way down to there. And some of that dark coming out. Deep blue coming out into here. Through there. Out. Now blend that in. And I'm going to use that as an underpainting to the purple, which is going to come onto here a bit warmer and give me even more depth. And rub it right in because I don't want any paper showing. You can see now the use of the darks and how we can really make these much deeper tones, make the lighter colours sing out. That's why they're so necessary. They have a job, otherwise it would be a very high key painting. And this one, I've got the high keys here, but I want to really show the darker marks around. Again, rub it right in. I'm going to take my deep purple, come back onto that, and now work across that with the purple a bit to bring that colour forward a bit. So now I'm just scumbling across the top here, back to my deep green. It's not a black, but it's almost. And let's look at the way that this lovely wrought iron fence comes behind here, all the way through. Try and keep my shoulder out of the way for you, it's not easy. All the way through here, sharply against it. And we want now to bring down the second row in a minute. We need to get the lines of the vertical pieces of fence that come right up to here, coming through. Now, the beauty of these S.A.A. pastels is that they're not so soft that they just crumble, and they're not too hard. So we don't cut into the paper, but they're strong enough to make a mark like this without just crumbling on me when I'm pressing quite hard, look. Now I need to curve those off right up to here. So no drawing to look at here, I'm just having to make this as I go along, just using one shape against another. then across in between the strengtheners, like this, straight off, and that comes around there, and along the bottom here as well we've got quite a strong line coming right the way through to work against her, and her leg is coming out here at an angle. Into that's where her foot comes. Just want it blending in down there. And this leg should be a bit further across. It's going to be the balance on the back of the head. The balance of a human being standing is always from the back of the head. So from the back of the head, this other leg must be coming in here and out to the foot. But this is the point, that with soft pastel we can cut in and come back again and make adjustments as often as we want. Just want to indicate, but I just got to get these little marks just right. So just want to just flicking them in, just to get the blend it in. Coming back with my warmer colours. I need some bouncy, and I'm going to actually pick up some black now. You see how dead that black is compared to the colours. Gives it a sooty effect, but it's really the deep colours that we need. So now you really see why I wanted to use those deep colours. Here, back here, in this, I'm going to use a bit of the purple now into these railings. So even that, you see, with the deep blue and the deep purple, you can see why I need all of these darks now, not just one dark. We really do need these differing darks to make this work. So hopefully I've shown you how we can use this new paper, and also a little bit about this technique of blocking and blending. A little bit of light on her hair there, deep purple, just around her arm and her sleeve there, in perspective. Just feeling the stonework again down here. Now the very light blues, we haven't got many light cools in. I'm just going to put it between her legs here to make that bit, make the warm seem warmer. We don't have to keep making things warm if we want them warm. We can make things cooler next to them, which will then make the opposites work. So this paper, yes, it works quite nicely. You can see how now. You can see that I could now just keep building up. I can put more of these deep greens, and we're almost done, I think. We don't need to do a lot more, just as an impressionist piece. So when the S.A.A. asked me to explain why I wanted the darks, perhaps now you can see by my doing it this way rather than trying to explain it myself verbally. It's better to see it done with the actual pastels, isn't it? And we'll bring some of that blue to the leaves as well, because there's a lot of blues in greens, a lot of very cool greens around the place, and that will bring these purples out, being the opposites, and it'll also bring out the warms. Now we've finished tight, or as tight as I want to finish, after starting loose. Always have purple just amongst that. And I hope that gives you a quick idea of this new paper and what we can do with blocking and blending, just to show light against dark and how we can use highlights to almost paint a painting. I call that one done. And it's taken me almost exactly an hour.